You're alive.
Good evening. This is a regular scheduled meeting of Business Economic Development Committee. Today's Monday, August 4th. It is 5:38. Committee members include Councilor Fish, Councilor Hawes, Councilor Leonard. We don't see right now. Councilor Mallard and myself, Councilor Fournier. We're joined at the table by Councilor Beck and Councilor Tremble and Ann Krieg. Our economic development director. Thank you. Two items on the agenda. The first is a request for review of change on rural residential ag district.
Yep. Good evening. Staff has been meeting with Versant on possible developing a training center at one of their properties that's out on Union Street, which is in the rural development zone. You may recall a little over a year ago, we had created a new definition for things like essential facilities to sort of deal with some of the things for the water company and, and Versant as well. But this is another use that is necessary for them with their operations of being able to do training. And so I looked at the comprehensive plan and just to see, what was expected for the rural area. And, there was some anticipation that there would be some limited commercial out there. And so I am offering a change to allow this use, sort of mixing it in with private school and recreation and adding that to the rural zone, but limiting it to your heavier traveled roads, what are called arterials. And an example of an arterial is Union. It's like Union, Broadway. Those are considered your arterials.
Great. We're joined by Councilor Leonard here shortly after Director Krieg started. Councilor Tremble.
And the memo, this is RRNA right now, but you said the comprehensive plan envisions as a neighborhood service district, is that correct?
Correct.
So.
No, it's in the rural residence district.
Oh, you said, so you referenced the name, you said the property in the land use plan of the 2022 comp plan is neighborhood residential.
That's correct.
So-
That area is called neighborhood residential in the comprehensive plan.
Right, so I mean, if they were to change the zone from RRNA to neighborhood residential, what is that allowed, is training facility allowed neighborhood resident?
Oh,
residential?
yeah, it's kind of a mix up of terminology. Neighborhood residential is a term that was used in the comprehensive plan, not in our zoning code.
Oh, so it's not a zone. neighborhood
Correct,
residential,
yeah, it's just an area.
Okay. So that's envisioned to stay RR&R. I mean, it doesn't
That
seem
would
like
stay
it
as
doesn't
well.
really seem a rural residential agriculture area. It's adjacent to the airport. I mean, are there any other RR, is that what's in that area?
Yeah, way out, sort of past, it's
I mean,
sort
that's
of
before the
things
Griffin
that-
Road.
Yes. RRNA kind of comes in right a little bit after the Griffin Road,
Right,
yeah.
this is right across from the
Vincent.
airport. Isn't this across the airport mall?
No, this is.
Well, this is a
Vincent.
different version. Oh, this is a different facility, okay.
Yeah.
It's not the one near, okay, I was thinking this was the one near the real estate office, okay.
Yeah,
Cause they had a facility, doesn't Versant still have a facility near,
Davis.
what's the real estate office here, Carol?
Better Homes.
Better Homes and Gardens.
Yes.
Yeah, that's right there on time, okay, thank you.
Just much further up. Other questions? Comments? Councilor Beck?
Just a question about positioning in the code. It's under permitted uses, and I'm just wondering if just because, we're using the terms private schools, training facilities and recreational uses, if we put can we put under conditional uses, kind of give the planning board a little more control over it, maybe?
Absolutely. If there's a concern about, traffic impacts, things like that, then you would want to put that as conditional use. We can certainly, I haven't advertised this yet or anything, so, because I wanted to get your feedback first. So if the council feels that this should be a conditional use, we can certainly take a look at that.
This is going to the planning board.
Informally, just like tonight, they're meeting tomorrow night. I haven't started the formal process because I wanted to confirm that the council and the planning board were supportive.
I'm certainly fine with the change. I'd just like to get planning boards
Mhm.
thoughts on that. Councilor Mallon,
Well, the arterials involve which streets again?
Union, Hammond.
Because there are,
So the main,
we have other
Those
items
radial.
in the, as I remember on the planning board, Essex Street was one of the major streets too. Is that considered an arterial? I don't see it really defined anywhere, that's
The
why.
name.
Oh, yeah,
yeah.
Yep.
This we have.
I can pull them right up. One second.
Cause I'm concerned as to what the
Broadway.
arterials are.
Okay, major arterials, okay, Broadway, Hammond, Hogan Road, Main Street, Audlin Road, State Street, Stillwater, and Union Street.
Any other questions?
I don't
Councilor
have a
Fish?
problem with the change, but I also would be curious as to any planning board input in your response. And maybe conditional use is a good suggestion because we just don't know what a result of the change will ultimately bring.
Yeah, absolutely.
You want to vote on that? Do you want a motion or do you?
If you
Just
want it
looking
to
for a
come back,
consensus?
yeah, just a general consensus, be fine at this point, because I haven't started the formal process. I'll come back at your next meeting with final language. Because I want to hear what the planning board says tomorrow night.
I think we have a consensus.
Yeah,
We'll take
great.
forward and we'll come back.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Next up, the airport.
Good evening, Joseph Survey, Airport Director. So I put together a couple of reports that show the statistics for the last couple of months, May and June. I think that generally speaking, they resembled the trend that we have been seeing for a while, although we did see a slight dip in the numbers for the month of June for passenger traffic. I think that's a combination of the runway construction affecting. Also, it can be something industry-wide. I think there's a little bit of a softening in traffic. But it's a minor bump with everything else that's happening. The increase in flights, the increase in aircraft size that we're seeing. So I'm not concerned about the number. We'll continue to monitor to make sure that it's just a blip, not a major thing, but we did see that. As far as fuel cells, we obviously at the month of June capped the fiscal year. And as far as fuel cells is concerned, what we are seeing is kind of a trend that we've seen over the last couple of years, a decrease in the military traffic. But that is being offset by the increase in fuel cells on other segments. And also another difference between the different segments is just the yield of profits that we get from each one of the segments. So even though in budgeted fuel gallons, the number is below, in terms of net revenue, the number is above what we had budgeted. So questions on either one of those two things before I move on? No?
Right.
Great. So one thing that I had mentioned during a previous report had to do with the customer facility charge program that we are looking to implement at the airport in order to fund the consolidated car rental facility. So after discussions with the legal department, what we found out is that the authority is already in place through ordinance for us to levy the charge. So at this point, what we are decided to do is to move forward and engage an expert in fee structures so that they can help us analyze the data of transactions that we have at the airport and figure out what is it that is appropriate given our facility or transactions and the project that we're looking to finance. So once we get that information back from the third-party consultant, then we'll be able to move on to draft the agreement amendments. And I think that the legal department has already been working on getting a hold of the similar agreements that are in place at the Portland Airport that should help us come up with the right language to mimic that same process. So more to come on that, but likely the next time that you will see it, it's likely to be in the form of the agreement amendments that will come to for approval. And I wanted to follow up on Councilor Fournier's question on the cost of taxiway alpha. So we're still early in the process of getting the design of what the project is going to look like. And we recently conducted a number of inspections of the under drains of the taxiway and a pavement surface condition report. And so that's going to help us fine tune it. But I did want to have initial discussions with our consultants to get a better sense of what that project will look like. A couple things that will be different is because I recall your concern was on the price, that it was going to mimic what the runway was. The taxiway is not a project that we're going to have to work on, that if we close the taxiway for construction, planes can still come and go. Logistics might be a little bit different, but it's not going to have the same level of impact. So what that's going to mean is that we're going to be able to put out there a project that can continuously progress without having to close down for a couple of days and reopen. And that's hopefully going to help in putting a more attractive packet. The very, very early estimates that the engineers provided were somewhere, based off of a different project that they recently completed in Portland, was somewhere between 15 to 25. But again, as we develop 15 to 25 million, as we continue to fine tune the project, we'll get a better sense of what that is. We are meeting with the FAA later in about a month from now down in Massachusetts. So this will be one of the projects that we'll be discussing, whether there's grants that will be available to fund the project, or how do we better face it to take care of that parallel taxiway. So. And another project that you might recall, a couple of months back, we went through the selection process of engineering firms. The other project that is front and center for the airport will be the expansion and somewhat relocation of the TSA checkpoint. So with all the increase in passenger traffic that we're seeing, that project, that the checkpoint is becoming a bottleneck. So the engineering firm that we selected for that project has started putting together an initial design. We made some adjustments to it and sent it back for fine tuning, but I would expect that in the next few weeks or a month or so, we might be able to come back to you and share with you what that design looks like. And obviously, as that project continues to move along, that's going to be a significant improvement for the second floor of the terminal. And obviously, this is a project that will connect, build a transition, right? So about 10 years or so, there was the big redevelopment of the first floor of the terminal. And now with the connector project, that's beyond security. So the checkpoint project will link both of those projects together. So. And lastly, for upcoming capital, we are moving along with the selection process of a different engineering firm that specializes in fueling facilities. So you might recall that I mentioned this a while back. The fuel farm is the original fuel farm facility that was transferred to the city from the military. So the facility is very, very old. And as the new regulations have come into place, that the current location has proven to be more problematic and requiring a set of additional regulations that need to be in place because there's a pipeline that goes from the fuel farm into the airport that crosses a public road 3 times. And so by relocating the facility inside the airport perimeter fence, there would be a additional safety components built into the relocation of that facility. So. All right. And yes,
Go ahead. No, I was gonna say questions. Go ahead.
Okay. And lastly, I was recently contacted by our trade association that monitors policy at the federal level. There's a legislation that is making its way through the process that the objective would be to increase the PFC cap that is in place right now and face an increase over several years to increase it. The current rate right now is at 450, is the same rate that has been in place for over 20 years. And obviously, as the purchasing power of that set PFC decreases, the need for us to find alternate ways to fund some of the capital that needs to be built at the airport becomes more and more important. And so with your approval, I believe that this is something that the airport would benefit from making a statement in support of this piece of legislation that would face in an increase to 550, 650, and then eventually cap at 850, and tying it to a price index.
That's our trouble.
No, I think this makes sense. It provides the funding for a lot of the projects. I think we've advocated this for a while, and probably 4 or 5 years ago, we were in DC at those annual meetings. It's been brought up to Senator Collins, so you may need to work on her. She doesn't seem like she's too enthused about this, so I think we may need to work on Senator Collins. That's a little bit.
And I think so. The airport director from Portland did reach out to see if we needed to coordinate on this. Obviously, I need to go through this process and get your feedback if this is something that we're interested in submitting a letter in support of it that comes from both of us. But you're absolutely right. This is something that it's made its rounds a number of times, and obviously keeping that at the forefront is important, as this brings a different source of revenue to the airport.
Councilor Leonard.
I only had a question regarding like what took us so long to update this. I mean, it's been like 25 years, so I'm just curious. I don't know the answer.
So it is, so like again, like I mentioned, there's every now and then there's different efforts to move that. Quite frankly, is the lobbying on the airline side to keep that fee at what it at the current level is pretty strong. Because all the airlines are on the opposite end of it. So it is, it does take a significant, any change in that area does take a significant amount of effort from local entities trying to bring this change about.
So is this more so something that like I'm completely in support of sending a letter to our delegation. Is this something that's more so an organized national effort that we have to really put pressure onto the House of Representatives?
Yes, so for the trade associations in the industry, one of them, my former employer, the American Association of Airport Executives, has a legislative affairs branch that focuses on tracking this type of legislation. And so through the weekly legislative affairs calls that they host, they disseminate this type of information so that my counterparts across airports bring it through our approval process or ask for support in order to have a more collective effort.
And is this, and I'm sorry, this will be my last question, what's the coordination effort like nationally? I mean, like, do we actually have a shot here of like changing, any, hearts and minds, or should we like, in the back of our minds, prepare to like, I don't know, like, could create a new TIF district or something like that?
I think that it doesn't hurt to move this along and send the letters and support. And obviously on a yearly basis, I meet with the congressional delegation down in DC, and this is a recurring thing that we bring up because again, it does free as different grants. The current grants are getting more and more competitive. Again, this is a cleaner version of stable money that continues to flow through or passenger operation. So.
Any other questions? Thank you for following up on the taxiway.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna ask about the fuel,
Yes.
and I agree, that needs to be moved. What's the cost involved with that?
So a while back, I had asked the same question. Do we have any idea what that's gonna look like? The answer that I was given was a lot. And so a couple of months back, I attended a conference on specifically on fueling facilities and learned just as much as I could possibly learn about it. I think is the inner working number that we had was somewhere in the 40 billion. After attending that conference and getting a better sense of what other facilities we believe is somewhere closer to the 15 million range. So, but if we put it in context to how much revenue we're bringing in on a yearly basis from fuel cells, just on fuel cells alone, we generate anywhere between $8 to $10 million of revenue just in fuel cells. So that relocation and the upgrade is certainly something that it's going to pay for itself. It will take a while to get that back, but I think that it will. The current fueling facility has being able to support us for the last 70 years. This will be another one of those investments that it's going to outlast a lot of us.
So when you're meeting with the FAA, is that something you broach with them as well?
So we've approached them about the fueling facility. Unfortunately, fuel is not one of those areas that qualifies for federal grants or federal assistance. So that will have to come from alternate sources of revenue. And so whether that's through a bonding program or some of our investments or a different way of looking at financing, that is something that we're going to have to figure out. I think that we're in the final stages of the selection process of the engineering firm to design it. Once we get a design in place, part of that task is going to be to get us an estimate of what we can expect. And based off of that estimate, we can assess what our current cash on hand is, whether it's something that we can just pay outright, or if it's something that we need to issue bonds or some other instrument to finance it.
With PFC, is that usable funding?
So our PFC fees will be tied to the checkpoint because that's another project that is somewhere in the 15 to 20 million. So chances are that this is going to be either a bond or a cash project.
Okay. Other questions? Seeing none, thank you, Jose.
All right,
Thank you for his enlightenment. Anything else for the committee? All right, we're adjourned.